Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of God, the most gracious, most merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, my brothers and sisters, and welcome to this program. We are a little bit late because there was a janazah taking place just outside, so the road was quite blocked, and so I can only apologise for that. And we are here today to talk about how the Quranic wisdom inspires and transforms your life. We give thanks and praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for allowing us to come into your homes to bring you these messages of hope, happiness, peace, love and well-being, and that we may remind you of the favours that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed on you. As you know, this conversation or these programs are about what it's like to be a spiritual person living in this physical world. And if what I quote from the Quran does not match up exactly with the version of the Quran that you have, it may be that you have got a different edition. And so today we are going to talk about how Quranic wisdom can inspire your life and also transform you. And that is the kind of power that the Quran holds within its wisdom. And this is why we should continually read the Quran to become this wisdom, so that when our lives get into difficulties, we can draw upon that wisdom that the Quran teaches us to get ourselves through the situations that we think about. You know, we when things happen in our lives, we manifest and create certain thought activity within ourselves, and that thought activity then goes on to create our reality about whatever it is that we're engaged in or whatever it is that's taking place around us. But then we're only looking at the physical reality. We have to go beyond the physical and look to our own souls, to the spiritual, for the best and the highest answers to the situations, because nothing happens in this physical reality that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't know about. That is the expanse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's awareness and wisdom, and knowing that not a leaf does fall from a tree that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not know about. Not even a feeling within your heart will escape. And imagine that, even those feelings we don't even know we're having. You know, those little feelings, those fleeting feelings that come in and go as soon as we have them or feel them or express them. But Allah knows, and all these things are recorded in a clear message for those people who can read. And so by understanding and reading the Quran and being inspired by the wisdom, and then allowing that wisdom to transform your whole being, your whole mental state. That is the power of the Quran. That is the transformative power of those words of wisdom that you will find within the verses of the Quran. And so this is why we should really read it in a language we understand and pay attention to the wisdom that the Quran is speaking to you, because it speaks directly to your heart, directly to your soul. And as you go within yourself and pay attention and listen to yourself, you are able to draw out of yourself the wisdom that you need to get you through all these different situations that will manifest in your life. All your likes, your dislikes, your pains, your anguish, your troubles. The answers to everything exists within you. But how often do we actually turn and look within ourselves for those answers, for the real truth, beyond the everyday thoughts that we have about this life and this world? There is still a deeper knowledge within yourself waiting for you to turn your eyes within and draw out that inner wisdom, that inner knowledge that will help you on your journey through this physical world and eventually your return to the home of the hereafter. So this is why the Quran is so important. The Quran is not just a holy book, but it is a treasure trove of amazing wisdom for this world, and it contains a lifetime of wisdom that has the power to inspire and transform your whole way of life. That is the amazing power of the Quran, and it can help you in everything that you do. So when you read it, pay attention to those little things you find within the verses of the Quran, because its wisdom offers you profound insights into the human nature of yourself, also spirituality, and even the universe. And it guides those people who believe on a path of enlightenment and personal growth and development. So as you explore the Quran, its wisdom can ignite profound changes and positive changes in your life forever. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, my brothers and sisters, and welcome back. You're listening to Radio Mac, broadcasting on 107.1 FM from the heart of Bradford, and I'm your host Asif Sabah, live in the studio. And today we're talking about how the Quran or how Quranic wisdom can inspire you and transform your life. And it's an amazing book. It's got so much wisdom within its verses. It elevates your conscious awareness. And don't forget, the conscious awareness we're talking about is that whatever is creating or manifesting within your soul, all that is connected to your conscious awareness of the hereafter. So between mankind and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there are 70,000 veils of light. Now if you think of each light or veil of light or degree of light being like a station in the hereafter, like a heaven. Now depending on where your consciousness is residing, depends on the kinds of thoughts you entertain, the love and all its expression in your life. And this is why I like to talk about meditation, because meditation allows you to go within yourself, see who you are, find out who you are on a spiritual level, and then you can start to work on yourself and remove those things that are harmful to your soul, which will clear the way to allow love to manifest within yourself and become a part of your everyday expression. So it does all come down to where you are consciously residing. And not only are there 70,000 veils of light between mankind or humankind and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but then there are 70,000 veils of darkness. And then between them, the Quran talks about a barrier which is there between the light and the darkness. And this barrier is like a thin, like layer, if you want. And your consciousness, it either resides within the light of that barrier or the darkness. And we do get to experience both, because we are born into the base matter that we know. And sometimes our soul, it drops down into our own inner darkness, and then it moves and ascends into the light of our being. And what our job is, while we're in this world, is to learn to hold ourselves steady in the light. And when we do drop down into the depths of our own inner self, into the depths of our soul, then it is our job to try to raise ourselves up and hold ourselves in the light. And this is why there's a verse in the Quran that says each soul must come up struggling for itself. And so, this is the wisdom behind the verses of the Quran. And the more you read the Quran, the more you start to piece together all these little bits of valuable insight into its wisdom, and it all becomes kind of like a full picture within yourself. And then you can use that wisdom to help to hold yourself steady in the light of your soul, rather than allowing yourself to remain in the depths of your soul where all the darkness is. And one thing I must say is this, that if we were perfect, we would not be here. So we are all on our own individual spiritual journey. And it is a journey that allows us to ascend. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that the difficulties that we go through, and He understands the difficulties, but it's those people who give up and strive to remain in the darkness of their soul, that instead of working on themselves to raise themselves up. This is the challenge of this world. And it's not an easy challenge, but don't forget, when you strive, Allah sees that striving and rewards you accordingly. So your striving does not go for nothing. As long as you are working on yourself, as long as you are striving to be the best version of yourself, then Allah sees that and takes note of that, because you know yourself that the angels, one on the right and one on the left, are with you. Those angels have been specifically assigned to you. They were with you before you came to this world, and they will be with you after you leave this world. And they know more about you because, I've spoken about the covenant that we make before we come to this world. And that covenant is like an agreement. And you'll read about it in the Quran. And I will at some point do a talk just about the covenant that we make with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we'll look at some verses connected to, or where it mentions this idea about the covenant that we make with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we make this covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and as we live our lives, we live out this covenant. However, sometimes we stray from the best practices, the best arrangement, or the best agreement, or the promise that we make to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we drift off and go in that direction instead of following that inner truth, those words of wisdom that come to us, giving us the best kind of guidance. And so, as long as we are learning from our mistakes, again, Allah is all forgiving, most merciful, and He will engage with you. He will try, you can try your best to raise yourself up, but, if we were perfect, we wouldn't have to come to this world and experience these lessons. So nobody in this world, apart from maybe one or two people, are perfect. And the chances of you meeting these beings that are totally perfect are like 1 in a billion. So, or even 1 in a trillion, and I don't think there's not even a trillion people on this world, so that's how scarce they are. Maybe there's 1 person or 2 people, but the rest of us, we're all on this journey. We are striving our best, and it's hard, but we are working on ourselves. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created all these different experiences so that we could learn our lessons, so that we could grow. And we all need different experiences, different lessons, and from that we learn. So this is why we should never ever judge another person, because we don't know what lessons Allah has designed as a part of their life for them to learn. Their lessons are different from the lessons that you are learning. And so this is why we must be grateful. We must learn to be satisfied with our life and our experiences. And as long as we ourselves know that we are working on ourselves to become the best version of ourselves, then we are heading in the right direction. And as we strive to raise our consciousnesses, raise ourselves up spiritually, then we are on the pathway. But it is our own individual pathway. And other people will have their own pathway. It will be different from your pathway. Because don't forget, these lessons, you can have 2 people going down pretty much the same pathway, but they will both interpret the different experiences according to where they are consciously residing. It's not always about the material world, but you have to take a deeper look into your own inner consciousness, into the workings of your own inner self, to really get to know yourself, understand yourself, and then develop yourself. And you can do this by understanding that within you there is a proportion and order. And the Quran talks about this proportion and order that has been allotted to each soul. And as we travel our journey, we ascend into the light, we drop down into the darkness of our own souls. And you find the verse that says, we are born into the base matter that we know. But it doesn't necessarily mean that we are bad people. We just have to learn to love more. Learn to love more and realize and be aware that this life, it isn't just a singular life. There is an afterlife. And what we learn from this life, we will take with ourselves. And the best practice is the expression of love. And if you can learn to hold yourself within an unconditional expression of love for all, then you are well on your way to really raising your consciousness back up into the light where you belong. And don't forget, when you pass away, who you have become in this world, you take with yourself into the hereafter. So all that you are in this world follows you into the next world. Because you are a spiritual person. Each one of us, we come from the hereafter into this physical reality. We live our lives and then we go back home. But it's during the process, during our life in this world, you need to ask the question, what am I becoming? Am I becoming a radiant light in this world? Or am I just charging round in life, destroying everything that Allah has planted that is good? Am I just ruining other people's lives because I can't get it together in my own life? That is the question. Because we will all be held accountable for the things that we do. And so we will look at some verses from the Quran, but I want to return to looking at how Quranic wisdom does inspire you and how it can transform your life to become this better version of yourself, this greater you that exists. It exists in the higher state of conscious awareness, because we're not all dwelling within the same state of consciousness. It's not like one sock fits all. It doesn't work like that. There are 70,000 veils of light between humanity and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are all dwelling within different veils, or different heavens, or different stations. So when you come across the word station in the Quran, the Quran that I use is the Allama Abdullah Yusuf Ali translation from Arabic to English. So when the Quran talks about station in the translation, it's talking about a degree, a level, a place in the hereafter. And it's for us to learn to raise our consciousnesses through these varying degrees of conscious awareness. And we do all exist in different stations. Not everybody, but there will be like will be joined with like is another beautiful expression within the wisdom of the Quran, and that's how it basically works. Souls will be joined like with like in the hereafter. So this is why it's so important to learn and understand and get to know yourself on a spiritual level, so that then you can work on yourself to raise your consciousness and come up struggling for yourself, and as you do, you attain a higher degree of consciousness. And when you pass away from this world, that is the place you will go to in the hereafter. That is the opportunity that you have while living in this physical reality. But Allah knows the difficulties. He is well aware of the stresses and the strains and the anxieties that we place on each other, because we've removed true love from our lives. And so now all we do is run around in life giving everybody stress and strains and bringing them down instead of elevating them up. And you'll know yourself, there's a difference in helping somebody on the way and just bringing them down to a lower level of thinking by backbiting, by bickering, and by just generally talking about other people in a negative way, when we associate and become attached to our negative emotions. But we should be here to support each other, to help each other. And we can do that through the expression of love. But I find one of the problems in this world is this, that the irregularities, or those in darkness, they don't want us to elevate our consciousnesses. They don't want us to ascend to a higher level of consciousness, because they lose control over us. We have no fear. And when you are in a lower level of consciousness, all these other manifestations within your soul appear. And fear is one of those things. But to the one who actually believes, they understand and they know the truth. And the truth can never be taken away from somebody once they realize what it is. And it helps them on so many levels. And as you learn to aspire, as you learn to ascend consciously, this is when you will begin to know a greater truth. Because in the lower levels of creation, you will never see the truth, or you'll see the truth, but the content of your soul just doesn't know what to do with the truth, because it's got all these other ideas, all these other thought processes going on, which blocks them from ascending. And they become lost in all this negative emotional stuff that's manifest. So as you learn to ascend, you leave behind all these negative emotions and these harmful thoughts. It's like they start to dissolve within you, because it's you yourself who give these negative emotions or feelings or harmful thoughts life. The more you associate, the more you let them run your life, the more you allow them into your life, the more you express them as a part of your life, the more active they will become within you. And eventually they will become the only active force within you. And it overshadows and covers up the love that could have been in its place instead. And so you start to live according to these ideas and these harmful thoughts, and they become your reality. And then you can't see beyond them. And when you look for love, it's more of a need rather than love itself. And there is a big difference between need and real love. Love lifts you up. Love supportive. Love is supportive. It holds you up. And you also experience different feelings within yourself. And it's through this love that you want to share it with others, because it feels so good. It feels so good when you experience Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's divine love. But the irregularities, they don't want you to know about this love, because you'll start to ascend consciously and leave them behind. But they live off you. They live off your soul's energy. So as you raise yourself, as you start to get rid of these negative emotions or these harmful thoughts, they start to dissolve until you don't even think of them anymore. And then as you spiritually ascend, you come into new knowledge, new insights, new understandings that were missing from your life before. And this is what you will find within the verses of the Quran. These new understandings, this new wisdom that was there all the time, but the darkness of your soul covered it over. It deluded you. It cheated you. It lied to you. It misdirected you and caused you to swerve. But when you manifest loving feelings and you allow your consciousness to ascend, you see the world in a whole new light. You read the Quran with a whole new vision. And you see a truth that is so beautiful and so acceptable to the love that exists within you, it almost makes you cry. It lifts you in ways that are astounding. And as you gain insights, the things that were necessary become unnecessary in your life. Now, the irregularities, they do not want you to know the things, they don't like it when things become unnecessary to you, because they live off your needs. Like this world. The things that you think you need, do you really need them? So the irregularities want to keep you down and stop you ascending consciously, because they live off your needs. When you do not need to rely on them for your sustenance. Instead, you turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You turn to the love within yourself. And that loving feeling you have helps your consciousness to ascend, and you draw closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the beauty of the Quran and its wisdom in your life. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, my brothers and sisters, and welcome back. You are listening to Radio Mac, broadcasting on 107.1 FM from the heart of Bradford, and it's Bradford's one and only Muslim community radio station. And that beautiful nasheed what goes out to Grandma Kanice. May Allah bless her and keep her safe in everything that she does, inshallah. And so today we're talking about how Quranic wisdom inspires and transforms your life. And so its teachings offer peace in times of hardship and guidance in moments of doubt and hope in the face of adversity. And this is another thing that the Quran offers. Its wisdom just goes on and on and on. And it is all about learning to grow and develop and raise your consciousness up to the heavens. And this is something you can witness for yourself, because you will know that you have changed. And just before the break, we were talking about how the irregularities like to hold you down and stop you from ascending, and they try to create within you a belief that everything you think about comes from yourself, and that you are the creator of all of your life, and that there is nothing outside of your brain that operates apart from all your ideas from yourself, created by your brain because of your own cleverness. But it doesn't work like that. And we are going to look at some verses from the Quran that talk about inspiration. And inspiration is something that comes to you from outside of your brain. It's not something that comes, you create because you are clever. And again, these are the irregularities within you, giving you these kinds of ideas to keep you down. So we'll start to talk about that after this quick nasheed, inshallah, and so we'll be back very shortly. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, my brothers and sisters, and welcome back. You are listening to Radio Mac, broadcasting on 107.1 FM from the heart of Bradford, and I'm your host Asif Saba in the studio. And today we've been talking about how the Quran can help you on your journey through this world, and not only help you, but its wisdom can inspire and it can transform your life. And just before the commercial break and the azan, we were talking about how inspiration plays a part in your overall understanding of everything that is taking place in your life. And inspiration is something that doesn't exist within you, and it's a part of your own thought processes because you think you're clever in any particular way. Inspiration is that amazing idea that you have all of a sudden, but that actual idea comes from outside of yourself. It's sent to you from the heavens, and it comes through your guardian angel or somebody close to you as something you need to hear at that particular moment in time to inspire you, to keep you going on your journey, to help you on your journey. There's so many different reasons why you all of a sudden get that amazing little idea and you think, you know what, that sounds so good, I'm going to go with that. And you follow it through, and it brings so much greatness into your life. That is inspiration. It's there to raise you up, not bring you down like the irregular, harmful thoughts that you might think, or those thoughts you get from other people, and things like that, who try to bring you down. So words of inspiration are so important on your journey, and you wouldn't last a day without inspiration coming into your life to give you meaning, to keep you going, to drive you forward on your pathway through this journey, should I say. And so, what is inspiration? It's that beautiful wisdom that comes to you. Say, for example, you're reading the Quran, and you're reading it, and then all of a sudden you get this amazing idea that comes to you, and it's like it turns on a light within your mind, and you see something that you've never noticed before, or you understand the Quran in a way that you've most probably never thought about before until that very moment in time. And that thought, that came from your angels as guidance to help you see the words of wisdom on a much deeper level. That is inspiration, and it comes into your life to help you on your journey, to give you that guidance that you need so that you can travel your journey with ease. That is the power of inspiration. That is the power of the Quran. It gives you that guidance to help you on your journey to wherever you are going in your life. And when things get difficult, you draw upon that amazing wisdom as guidance to help you understand, grow, and you'll be inspired, and it's through so many different things coming together that you begin the process of transformation that will lead to an amazing change in your life. So, what is inspiration? Well, let's look at a verse from the Quran, and it's Surah 40, verse 15. And it says this: raised high above ranks or degrees, he is the Lord of the throne of authority. By his command doth he send the spirit of inspiration to any of his servants he pleases, that it may warn men of the day of mutual meeting. So what is this inspiration? Well, you receive inspiration. It helps you on your journey. It's not the same as somebody else's inspiration, but your inspiration comes by the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to you, most probably through your angels or loved ones, and it enters your mind. And don't forget, the angels are closer to you than your jugular vein. And this word inspiration, it appears 45 times in the Quran. So it's so important to recognize just that one word. And if you hold on to that one word and keep paying attention to when you are inspired, that inspiration that you receive will lead you on your journey back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the spirit of inspiration will come to you. This is how all the prophets received their inspiration from Allah. The information that they relayed to you, it came as inspiration. And so for you to open yourselves up to this inspiration, that is when you begin to follow the lives of the prophets, peace be upon them. You become aware, you become wise yourself. And that inspiration will help you on your journey. And there is this spirit of inspiration, as in Surah 40, verse 15 of the Quran, and many other verses within the Quran. It talks about the spirit or inspiration that is sent to you. And even today, we don't stop picking up inspiration. You know, inspiration didn't stop many years ago, and, you know, we don't detect it anymore. It will come to you. But you have to pay attention. You have to listen to when it speaks to you, when it is offering you that guidance. And as you follow that guidance, it will put you on a pathway that leads to an amazing transformation and change within you. That is the power of inspiration. That is the power of the verses of the Quran. They will help you, because as you're reading the Quran, as you're understanding and digesting that information, you start to also create your own ideas of how you understand that which you are reading. And as you start to dissect and understand the information that is coming into you, you will become aware of inspiration, and in and amongst the thoughts that you are having will be certain little thoughts and ideas that are suggested to you by your guardian angel as guidance to keep you strong, to keep you on the pathway as Sirat al-Mustaqim, to help you in your deen, as you flow along your pathway. It is so important you pay attention and listen to the words that come into your soul as inspiration and guidance. It usually comes into your mind as that little thought, that wise thought amongst all the other thoughts that you may think about. And it offers you that guidance to elevate your soul, to keep you on the right pathway. All the other thoughts will try to bring you down because you give life to the darkness of your own soul. When you keep thinking about it and recreating certain scenarios within your mind, you feed the darkness yourself. How do you stop it? You cut it off. You stop feeding it. You stop thinking from your negative emotions, but you think from your intelligent emotions instead. Because that intelligence will help you to ascend. And then you'll be open to knowing when you are receiving divine inspiration from the heavens to help you consciously ascend. So remember, there are so many words in the Quran, but they might just be singular words, but it's the meaning behind those words. And if you take one word into your meditation, let it be to listen to the inspiration that comes into your soul, sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as guidance for you on your journey. This isn't about anybody else's journey. I'm talking to you as an individual. Just you. I'm talking to your heart to get you to listen, not to me, but to yourself. Listen to yourself. Listen to the love within yourself, because it is through love that the angels will speak love to you, their divine words. If you manifest hatred and become filled with hatred and anger and all those kinds of things, how will you hear the divine message? You'll become whatever it is you think about. So allow yourself to ascend. Allow yourself to express love and kindness and compassion and gratitude and all these other beautiful names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Become one of those beautiful names, and the rest will follow through to help you become more than you were. And then you'll be so happy that you took notice and you paid attention and you listened with love. Those people who say, love, blah, 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 blah. Don't pay attention to them. If they choose not to manifest love in their life, that's up to them. They are the losers. So go into your own self. Listen to yourself. Listen to the wise words of wisdom that come into your soul to help you on your journey. Because love is supportive. And you'll find that in your interactions with others. When you meet a negative person, and you may meet somebody who's negative, you just look at the way they are acting, the things that they are talking about. Is it loving kindness? Is it sharing? No, it's usually, now I don't want to judge, but usually it's about themselves. And it's not supportive, not at all, of anybody else. The only support is usually the support that they want for themselves. But love, it wants to support everything, all life. It wants to raise up in conscious awareness those who are struggling. So when you express love in your life, love will give you that guidance. Through love, you will experience Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah comes to you as a light. Allah comes to you, and when you express love, within love are all the beautiful names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is why it's so important to work on yourself, to get to know yourself, to express love, and to be guided by love. Because love will help you on your journey. And when you go home to the hereafter, you will be so pleased that you created love within yourself and love for everybody else. Because love will bring into your life, through its expression, personal growth and development. And also wisdom. You will become wise in ways you will not believe. It's a total transformation. It's a total game changer. So why not express love? Because it will raise your consciousness out of the base matter into which you are born. And this is why the Quran talks about how each soul must come up struggling for itself. Love raises your consciousness. It changes the vibrations of your spiritual self. It heals, it soothes, it comforts. Are these not all qualities that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expresses towards you? But don't forget, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you free will, and He has given you choice. It's up to you which pathway you follow. But you know yourself that, in the end, the record of your deeds, even the expressions within your heart, will be inquired into. And you will end up one day going to the hereafter, and you will be presented with the deeds that you did. In fact, you will see them on like a television screen. You'll look, you'll make an account, the account will be rolled out or shown you, and you'll judge yourself based on how you acted during your physical life. And so, all the warnings are in the Quran. But when you open your heart in love, allowing inspiration to help you on your journey, imagine your perception of the verses of the Quran against when you are angry and you're reading the Quran. You're going to see totally different things within the wisdom, within the verses. So this is why love must prevail over the darkness. Love raises you. Love lifts you up out of the darkness and into the light, where you will find security, peace, tranquility, compassion, kindness. All these are beautiful expressions, and they're just a few of the expressions that you will find in the expression of love. So as you read the verses of the Quran and implement its wisdom into your life, you will grow on a spiritual level. It will change the vibrational frequency of your inner self. And when you pass away, you will go to a heaven, a state of consciousness that vibrates according to your own inner spiritual self's vibration. And don't forget, you take all that you have become. Let's say your character is the best way to show you who goes over to the next world. Your character follows you into the hereafter. So according to the development of your character, because that's the outer expression in this world, is according to where you go in the next world. And so getting rid of all these anger issues and all this hatred for other people is a must. And, we are born into this world, into the base matter of what we know, what we believe, what we have created. And then it is our job to come up struggling for ourselves as we learn through experiences to raise our consciousness. And the greatest expression that you can express in your everyday life is love. Because love changes everything. Love creates a beautiful environment within yourself. And when you close your eyes and you experience this love, that is what you take over into the hereafter. And what a beautiful thing to carry with you. It removes whatever rejection of the truth you have. Because it's only the darkness that will reject the truth. Even though it recognizes the truth, it will reject it because it is overshadowed by the darkness. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help you on your journey into the light. So read the Quran. It is an amazing book. It's got the truths that will fill you with everything you need to have a beautiful journey through this world. And inshallah, you will make it. You'll find your way home. You'll elevate your soul's consciousness as you come up struggling for yourself. So we are coming up for the ending of this program. It's coming up to 9 o'clock. We've just got 2 more minutes left. So, we will be back on Sunday to talk more about the Quran, because the Quran is such an amazing book. And you can use its wisdom to elevate your soul and remove the darkness that exists within you. Because we all have it, it's all there. But we can use it. This is what the Quran has come down to help us on our journey. It's a spiritual journey. The Quran that I use is the Allama Abdullah Yusuf Ali translation from Arabic into English. And it is an amazing book. So if you want to follow some of the verses that I give, that's the version of the Quran that I use and read. And it helps me so much. And it gives me all these ideas I talked to you about. This is where they all spring from. It's just me putting certain ideas together that I find in the verses of the Quran. So inshallah, you'll find your version of the Quran that inspires you and ignites that interest and information. It draws out of you the truth and the love that exists within yourself. And you too learn to find your way home back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah. So I do hope this program, you find it helpful on your journey, and you'll be inspired to read the Quran for yourself. And inshallah, I'll be back on Sunday evening from 7 till 9 o'clock to bring you another program just to talk about the amazing Quran and its benefits in your everyday life. So Jazakallah from myself, Asif Saba, live in the studio of Radio Mac. Jazakallah, my brothers and sisters.